Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to this presentation of Inspire Motion Designer and Analyst now. That'll be the theme going forward as we bring these two products into a unified environment. Today, I'm going to focus primarily on the new enhancements and the features for release 2026. But when we get started, I do want to give just a brief overview, a recap of what we've done with these, or what we call the two personas now inside Inspire Motion. So for the agenda today, we'll have a short recap, and we'll take a look at the 2026 new features and some notable enhancements. Not all the enhancements, as this being a fairly new product, I guess you could call it, persona in a product. There's enhancements that are happening every day. I just saw actually somebody notified me that there was a nice enhancement that just came through overnight. Some of these things won't be in the presentation, but surely they'll be coming up in the release and then in the next version. We'll have a short documentation update. Okay, so moving on to the new features of 2026. The first main feature we have is we now have a expression builder. So we can quickly go through all the motion functions and different model entities, and we can use this this tool to easily and quickly build expressions. So here you can see you kind of start off on the left, top left here as we choose the function we want. Over here on the right, we can browse for these model entities and different functions. If we click the magnifying glass, it'll launch the entity tree here. And then we can insert these as we go along, and we can progressively build these expressions out. And then we have an evaluate button that tells us if it's correct or has a mistake inside of it. So previous in the 2025 release, we only had access through the property editor to build the expressions, and we didn't have any access to the library per se or anything like that. So this has really opened up the door for including the expressions in your model. We also developed the Spline editor. Previously, this was just a simple dialog. You click the accept and you create a spline, and then you really couldn't see the data very well. We just have everything in the property editor. Now we have a UI utility for this. So this is very, very friendly. It's similar to, or both 2D and 3D are similar in nature. So we can enter values, we can read a CSV, we can enter math-based expressions. If we bring in a CSV, there's an option there to convert all the data from the CSV into local values. So we can keep the file linked, or we can bring these data values in locally. Scale and offset options, interpolation methods, and then whichever interpolation method you set here in the for the spline, that'll automatically propagate to the entity. So for example, if you define a force that's going to use this spline, the force will automatically come up with the same interpolation method that was used in the spline. So here, if we said cubic for this 3D spline, when we go to create the force, it uses a cubic interpolation. We also have default values. So for example, if I have a 3D spline, I need two independent variables. So here we automatically assume some functions that are predefined. For a spring, for example, if you use a spline, we automatically include the dm expression for the displacement between the spring endpoints. So there's some intelligence in this as well. We also have functions. This may look very familiar. This looks a lot like the Inspire Motion traditional profile editor, but now we have this available for Motion Analyst as well. So you're looking at the micro dialog on the top for a force, and then we can click this button here. It's the same button we had for motors and actuators, and it will launch the profile editor. So we have all of the same functions in here, as you can see, that we have in the designer. So this traditionally in motion view, you would type out a step function, you would type out a step dwell step. You got very good at using the syntax. Well, the idea is to take that and make it easier for the user so you can quickly get up and running with these predefined functions like this. We have systems and assemblies. So we can now organize the model in a structured hierarchy and connect them to other systems with attachments. Systems are considered embedded, so they're self-contained within the model, and then assemblies are considered reference, so they're stored separately and linked to the model. But yet, for both of these, changes propagate to the other systems, so you can keep that relationship. So here's an example of a steering suspension system broken into different subsystems, if you will. So it really gives a lot of freedom in the modularity in using these different systems in different models, and then keeping one parent system, if you will. We also have pairs, and you can see there's a video playing on the bottom. So with pairs, we can use or treat models as symmetrical models. You can see I'm making changes to the right side, and it's completely controlling the left side. So this makes it very fast and efficient for creating these models, making changes, and things like that. These are available for entities such as springs and joints and forces. So they're quite a broad capability here. We also have polybeams. So we can create polybeams in here. I think this is a little bit different than what we did in Motion View. It's friendly, it's interactive. Here I'm importing data points. Let me back up for a minute. So I change that to pair, importing from a spreadsheet. You can see it's prompting for the units that these values are coming in. And if I stop it here, you can see that in this spreadsheet, the CSV file, I've added a column in here for left symmetry. So it automatically reads that symmetry and applies it to the right side, which is very nice. And then we click the Polybeam tool and we just start clicking the points. At any time, I can control and I can deselect a point if I selected a point in the wrong order. We assign a material property by default as steel, but you can choose from the Inspire material list and set your own materials for this. And you can see at any time you drag these hard points, the Polybeam updates in real time. The nice thing about this is if you'll see over on the left there, you can create using hard points, Inspire sketch curves and splines, and Inspire NURBS curves. So this has a lot of capability. If you just sketch a spline or NURBS curve in 3D space from the Inspire geometry ribbon, you can use the curves option on the Polybeam and just use that to fit a polybeam right through it. So there's a lot of flexibility in here. I have another video right here. Here's more of a flexible polybeam, kind of represented as a flexible cable, if you will, just showing some simple changes in real time and then rerunning the simulation. Okay. Those were the notable main features for 26, and we'll move on to some of the enhancements now. The first enhancement we have is to create hard points using a grid. So when I come in here, previously it was just adding points in space. It was a little challenging to align the points in a 2D plane. Now you can click a grid button and you can choose either the global Inspire plane or a reference plane or the face of an Inspire part and sketch points directly on it. And I was just informed this morning that we now have another enhancement. I couldn't slip it in here, but we can lock these points to a plane. So if you move the plane, the points will remain parametric to that plane. For plotting, we've enhanced all the live plotting for many entities. We had, it wasn't working for all entities, now it is. Now it's working for expressions as well. So here you can see I have an expression made up and we can live plot that expression in real time, just like any other plotting we do for Inspire entities. Here you see the plots of a polybeam down here as well in real time that can be displayed on the screen. And now we're also supporting these plot entities through the plot manager, which we had limited coverage in the past release. We've colored analyst and designer joints different because they are different. It is a joint, but their behavior, the foundation is different, right? Analyst joints are hard point based, and designer joints are feature based. And you can, this allows you to easily see which is which in a model. So if you open up the software at any time, you can just right click on a designer joint and convert it to Analyst, and you'll see it turn red. So this is good for clarity to understand in a model if someone opens it up, if it's been, some of the model has a hybrid modeling, or which joints are Analyst, which joints are designer. In traditional Inspire, that's why I said designer here, we've improved the iterations for static equilibrium. This wasn't the case in the past. This was lowered for easier simulations. And I think early when Inspire was developed, it didn't have the complexity that it does today. And so a lot of these problems were suitable. But now we have very complex models with contact and flex bodies. And so it has a higher call for a better iteration on a static solution. So we've increased the iterations. Static equilibrium works much better now, especially for finding equilibrium in contact models. For Analyst entities, you can see we have cylinder graphics, a motion, a joint. This message here on the bottom left is pertaining to a spline. So a spline was created, but the user forgot to enter the independent variable. So we have these notifications, and if you hover the notification, it will tell you exactly what is wrong with respect to the warning. There is a motion tutorial, so I know that there's questions on the training content. When will we have training content for this? I just want to recap right on this one. This was introduced in 25.1. It's just the getting started that can get the basic look and feel for the Analyst product. So I encourage you, if you open the product, take a look at the tutorial. We'll have additional tutorials coming in 2026.1. With respect to training, the product is changing rapidly all the time. I would say it changes less rapidly than it has previously. So we're waiting for these dialogues and workflows to be completely finalized before we commit to the training content. So we are planning to introduce additional tutorials covering a wide range of topics that can be used in the interim until the training material is complete. The documentation team has done a great job, Dee Lu, Zena Cortez, and Neil Stein, with creating all and porting over all the motion documentation into the Inspire framework now. So if you go in, you'll see you have motion designer and motion analyst. And I think we're probably about 95% complete with having all the documentation brought over and updated to reflect, the Inspire environment.